first roundtable focuses on one such group, the private sector. Joining us now are leading startup founders from the region. We've brought them to the table for a candid conversation on their role in driving digital transformation. Please welcome Mr. Al-Harith Al-Atabi, the co-founder and chief operations officer of Level Z and Skiplino. Mr. Abdelhamid Sharara, the co-founder and CEO of RiseUp. Mr. Rami Al-Kawasmi, the co-founder and CEO of Madhu. Thank you for being here. Ms. Noor Boodai, the founder and CEO of Dars. A pleasure to have you today. Mr. Khalid Abanami, the co-founder and CEO of Toby. And Ms. Noor Al-Hassan, the CEO of Tarjama AI and founder of URead. Ms. Boodai, as the founder and CEO of Dars, which is an edtech startup, your home country of Kuwait, tell us about how you see your company's role in educating the digital workforce of tomorrow.
The vision of Dars is to accelerate the world's transition to digital learning. And we feel that COVID-19 is a blessing in disguise because it has imposed this vision on almost all governments in the world, especially the government of Kuwait. Right now, as we're speaking, students are studying online. The Ministry of Education has had to adapt to digital learning. So we feel that this is the right time for governments to be able to learn and better their online education system.
What specific improvements to digital infrastructure would accelerate innovation in your country?
Thank you, Aisha. Actually, we are very lucky in Kuwait that it is one of the economies where it is already kind of tech savvy. We have the highest online payment penetration rate in the region. We have the highest mobile penetration rate in the region. So Kuwait as an economy is already great, is a great foundation for any digital company. I just wanted to mention and to add to what Abdelhamid and Khalid said, because it is very important about the public-private partnerships. If we want to really have strong, independent economies, we have to empower the private sector. And the future of the private sector is startups, because startups are scaling up really fast with digital transformation. So governments really do have to work with startups and not just shy them out because they think, oh, this is just a startup, we'd rather go with larger companies. They need to empower the startups in their country.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a very powerful statement. The future is with startups. How do you think governments can better encourage entrepreneurship and boost the technology ecosystem?
Changing the way we live, changing the way we collaborate, changing the way we cooperate, changing even the society, how we interact with each other. And as this happens, governments need to catch up. They need to develop different regulatory frameworks that are agile enough to catch up with this humongous change that we see every day. And I think the GCC countries and governments have been extremely successful in doing so. They set up a lot of funds, they injected a lot of funds into startups and helped us really grow and achieve the different success stories that we hear about today.
Fantastic, thank you. Mr. Sharara, you co-founded a company that produces events and content that promotes technology and startup culture. You have a 30,000-foot perspective on the digital economy. How has COVID-19 affected the digital transformation that was already underway in the region?
As you mentioned, I think everyone now is aware of the impact of COVID on the economy in general, but what we've seen in really in specific is actually a very positive gear towards accelerating the digital economy, because I think what governments and investors and corporations had wished for to happen in 10 years or 15 years from now has actually started super fast and kickstarted super fast. Now you see kiosks and small shops, utilizing apps and communication tools to sell their goods and services, because it has become a necessity for those kind of small and medium enterprises, and eventually for startups definitely, to use technology at their epicenter.
What are the unique challenges you have faced blending a very traditional industry with technology?
So I think it's important when we think from a regulatory standpoint that businesses like Thobi that are creating these new types of business models are not necessarily regulated in kind of using legacy type regulations that are maybe applied to traditional industries. So I think that's a critical area for us.
What investments are needed to support public-private partnerships that are designed for resilience?
In general, there is a big lack of Arabic content online. We've been investing in content in general, but there is still a very, very big lack of Arabic content. And I think a private company by itself can't really fill the gap. I think governments should work together. Governments should open barriers between each other in order to exchange talents, also funding. You would need, especially in this part of the world, we still need to spend a lot on Arabic content, on technology.
What is the impact of digital transformation on the workforce of tomorrow?
The impact actually goes across four main areas. If I look at the automation, so as we all know, automation is going to eliminate a lot of jobs. But again, it's going to create a lot of jobs. So if we hear always that automation means people are going to go jobless. The World Economic Forum just launched a report last month. It's actually stating that by 2025, 85 million jobs are going to be eliminated. But by eliminating 85 million, we're creating 97 new million jobs, which means 12 million new opportunities. So the Arab Youth Survey launched actually their survey early 2020, and it indicated that by I think by 2030, we're going to have 43% increase on people wanting to go to independent and freelance work. A lot of companies today launched that we're not going to go back to office permanently, like Kareem and others, even global companies. So the remote work opportunity is going to be a huge shift in the DNA of how we do business.